It is Motorcycle Awareness Month. It is week 3. Welcome. My name is Ray Hurren. Joining me this week, it is Dr. Chris Hurren from Deakin University. As I've said before, Motorcycle Awareness Month, usually September, postponed this year due to COVID, October. It is the month where motorcyclists across New Zealand, they break out the bike, they get out there with their mates, and generally kick things off for the riding season. But it's also the month where ACC sees a significant spike in motorcycle-related crashes. So they're upskilling motorcyclists, encouraging you to take a Ride Forever course, but also things like gear, prepping your bike, talking about upskilling yourself. And this week, we are talking gear. Dr. Chris Hurren from Deakin University, also MotoCAP. You guys, you test a whole lot of riding gear and kind of work out what's good and what's not, right?
Yes, Ray. We buy gear from stores in Australia and New Zealand. We bring it back into the lab here where I am today, and we cut it up and test it. And the whole aim of it is to give riders information on what they're buying. And the beautiful part is because it's the stuff that you get from the stores, it hasn't been tricked up. Manufacturers haven't changed it in any way to make it perform better. So the results we put up on the website are exactly the same as the clothing that you're buying when you go into a store and ride.
Now, I'm told wearing the right gear can reduce your chances of injury or serious injury by as much as 30%. What kind of gear do we need to be wearing? I mean, is jeans and a jacket okay, or is leather better than textile? What's the story?
So any gear is better than no gear. So when you go out on a motorbike, making sure that you've got all your skin covered with protective gear is a really, really good start. And then it's a matter of the best way I can recommend is to go onto the MotoCAP website, because some garments are better than others. There are good garments in textiles, leather and denim. And there's bad garments in textile, leather and denim. So the only way to tell is really to go to MotoCAP and see how it tests. I know I do whenever I buy a new garment, and I bought a new jacket the other day and definitely consulted MotoCAP before I went and purchased one.
Okay. Are there any kind of basic rules when it comes to gear? Like if I'm just riding around town, for example, would I get different gear than if I was a road tripper or a tourer?
So if you're in an urban environment around town, there's going to be a lot of asphalt, and on-road testing that we've done both in New Zealand and we've just done some really extensive stuff here in Victoria and Australia has shown that asphalt is about 4 to 4.5 times less abrasive than chip seal. So if you're just riding around an urban environment doing 50, 60 kilometres an hour, then 2 stars or better is more than enough when you're looking at MotoCAP. So you want to have jackets, pants and gloves. You want to have impact protectors in the knees, hips, elbows and shoulders. But 2-star gear is good. If you get out on the open road, it becomes a different story.
Now, you mentioned motocap.com.au, motocap.co.nz. It has a whole lot of information about different gear that you have tested. How do you test that gear? How do I know what you're putting out there is legit?
So we're looking at the 3 main protection areas that you have when you crash a motorcycle. Number 1 is abrasion. Everyone knows about abrasion. Everyone knows about skin rash and the dreaded scrubbing brush to scrub the rock out of the wound and everything like that. So for abrasion, we're measuring how long it takes to form a hole wearing through the fabric. And we use a dirty great big belt sander. And I'm just going to hopefully move around a little bit and keep you being able to hear what I'm saying. This is our belt sander for doing that. And our test sample fits on the test head just here. It swings around. Now that belt's doing 28 kilometres an hour, and we're able to measure exactly how long it takes to form a hole through the fabric. And we've found that it's pretty much identical to the test results you get from chip seal. So if it lasts 4 seconds on our abrasion tester, it's going to last for 4 seconds on chip seal, and that's going to get you at 28 kilometres an hour or 8 metres a second. That's going to get you a 32 metre slide for your 4 seconds. If you're on asphalt, of course, you can multiply that by 4. So you're you're going to well and truly be stopped before you're going to wear through your clothing on asphalt. So we're definitely seeing a big difference between the two of those.
What if it's a hot day, middle of summer, and I don't want to wear my gloves, or I don't want to wear my pants? What do you say to those kind of people?
Well, we look at it that there is gear out there that is thermally comfortable in a hot day. I rode in today. It was beautiful sunny weather, and then it was pouring rain on me, and then beautiful sunny weather at the other end. Typical Melbourne day. But you can buy denim jeans that are just as comfortable as normal denim jeans for wearing on a hot day. You can get vented gloves with mesh in them that enables airflow through the glove so that you can be thermally comfortable. And that's where our thermal comfort tester comes in. This big box that we have here has a artificial skin inside of it. And this is the same test machine that they use for style, a test machine that they use for testing sports clothing for Nike and Adidas and places like that. And we measure how much heat can go through the fabric, and those results become the breathability results that we present in MotoCAP. So you can get gear that has high breathability. We're looking at a 3-star or a 4-star garment is going to be quite comfortable to wear on a hot day, 5-star even better. So you can get gear. And as I said at the start of this, any gear is better than no gear. So even if you have a 2-star glove that is vented that you're wearing on a hot day, that's better than wearing no glove at all. So
I guess if it's too hot for the gear, it's too hot to ride, right?
Well, I ride in 40 degrees Celsius days. And I ride in my normal leather jacket, my denim pants, and my gloves. I've got a vented pair of gloves, but my jacket has zips in it that I can open up to get the airflow through. Us Australians, we're sort of a bit used to really hot weather, and it does get hot. So it's getting the right gear to wear in the right occasion. And there's definitely a massive range of vented gear out there now, whether it's zippered vented or whether it is actual mesh gear. So there's quite a good thing. Now, going on to what we do with testing, we also test, so we do abrasion. The next most critical thing that we measure is impact. And if we look at it, every crash that we have, we're going to hit the ground with a part of our body. And everyone knows about armour, and I'm looking around, there's boxes and boxes of armour around me, but not one that I can grab. Armour in the elbows and shoulders, knees and hips are really, really critical, because these are the first bits we hit when we hit the ground. And these are the bits that are really hard to fix. If you imagine it, if you go in for shoulder surgery, you're not going to be back and doing stuff within a day or so. It's going to be several weeks that you're going to be out. So having armour there is really critical. Same with the hands. We want to be looking for armour for the back of the knuckles and armour for our palm if we can, because these things are pretty important. We use them for eating and wiping our nose and other things that we have to wipe. And once again, they're pretty critical, and they take a while to recover from. So we have an impact testing device. If I swivel around, this machine has an impact test head on it, and this enables us to measure how much force is going through that armour and how much is going to be absorbed and not transmitted into your body. And so, once again, this is a critical part of MotoCAP, but the armour plays a double piece. Not only does it absorb energy, but it's in the spots where, in most cases, where we're going to slide a fair bit. So if you've got armour there, you're actually going to get abrasion protection from it as well, because it's going to take forever to wear through that armour, either on chip seal or asphalt. You're going to stop sliding before you wear through it, so it gives extra protection.
Brilliant. So I guess coming back to it being spring, we're getting out on that bike, potentially for the first time this season. A good idea is to check all our current gear for nicks, scrapes, holes and that sort of thing.
Definitely. Look for any sorts of marks. Seams are really, really critical. These are the spots where we're going to fail first when we hit the ground in older gear. The seams tend to go first. Discoloration. So if you've got that favourite textile jacket that you've had for the last 20 years and it's really starting to no longer look like the jacket that you bought, that's a clear indicator that it's probably starting to age and get to a point where you really need a new garment. When you're looking at garments, if you've bought denim pants, they're another item that, if you're wearing them a lot, need to be replaced reasonably regularly. If we look at our normal denim jeans, we all know they all go in the knees. And the reason they go in the knees is the cotton, when it flexes, it has flex fatigue, and sooner or later it will break. The same happens in our protective denim jeans. And you might say to me, oh, it's okay, the Kevlar underneath is still okay. But you might say that the Kevlar or the Vectran or whatever underneath is still okay, but it's not. It needs the denim on the outside to give it the protection when you first hit the ground. The two work in synergy. So if your denim jeans are torn or nicked or starting to look old and worn out, you need to get rid of them as well, because the denim won't be up to protecting that Kevlar in the slide. And you really need it to protect it in that first hit with the ground.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. And also that extends to the helmet as well, doesn't it? I mean, I think a good rule of thumb is about 5 years for a helmet, even if you don't wear it all that often. But most manufacturers will give an indication of how long a helmet will last.
Yeah, and if we look at helmets, it's like our impact protectors. Helmets and impact protectors go together. They squash over time. We all know we put our helmet on for the very first time, you can barely get on your head. And then after 5 years, it's like putting on an old shoe. It fits on quite nicely. But the reason this is the foam compressors. And it's the same with impact protectors in your elbows. If you think about it, you're pressing your elbow onto that impact protector or onto that armour all of the time. It squashes and it gets less effective over time. So we should replace them. I was actually listening to another vlogger, and he was talking about helmets, and he was saying, what's better? Are you better to buy a slightly less expensive helmet and replace it 2 or 3 times replace it every 2 years, or buy that really expensive helmet and keep it for 5 years? It's a good question, because that cheaper helmet is going to be always at its optimum, where the older helmet's going to be beautiful at the start and get less optimum the longer we have it. So it's horses and courses.
And the other thing is, if we're a fair weather rider and we're out, every sunny day during summer, that UV is going to be damaging not just the helmet, the shell of the helmet, but the cotton and the seams of your jacket and everything like that as well.
Yeah, and one of the things we're going to be doing over the next 12 months is we're going to be testing gear that we're handing out to a number of riders that are doing large kilometres, and we're going to be bringing that gear back over time and testing it to see how it performs in the laboratory. It'll be MotoCAP rated gear, so we'll know what its seam strengths are, we'll know what its fabric abrasion resistance are, we'll know what its impact protectors are performing like, and we'll be able to see after 10,000 Ks, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 and so forth, how the gear performs when it comes back. And this will be able to help answer that question a lot better. When should we replace gear?
Dr. Chris Hurren, Deakin University, MotoCAP. What are those websites again, please?
So motocap.co.nz or motocap.com.au. Think of moto as in MotoGP and cap as in what you put on your head. And if you can't remember the website, just Google it and it will come up.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for joining us for this chat, and thanks for being a Motorcycle Awareness Month ambassador.
More than happy to, Ray, and really missing riding in New Zealand. So I'm hoping that borders will come down at some stage, because your roads are God's roads compared to Australian roads.